everyone, Mark here from Baritone Ukuleles Rule. Today's video is going to be kind of a guide for anyone who may be sitting on the fence. You're not sure what is the first instrument for you to learn. You're kind of leaning maybe towards the guitar, or I don't know, maybe jump on the ukulele bandwagon. Well, this particular instrument I'm holding here is what's known as a baritone ukulele. It is the largest of the 4 standard types of ukuleles. However, it's the one that's closest to sounding like a guitar. In fact, not only just because of the bigger size, but also the 4 strings on this instrument are tuned to the same tunings as the bottom strings on an acoustic guitar. So today I want to show you why, if you do choose the baritone ukulele over the guitar, why you're actually going to progress musically much faster on this instrument. Okay, so I want to start by saying that I'm not trying to bash the idea of learning the acoustic guitar. It's a wonderful instrument. I'm really glad I learned how to play it years ago. I'm just thinking about the starting musician right now who maybe, they're not really sure about how serious they're going to be about music, and they just want to get up and playing an instrument really quick, having a lot of fun with family and friends, and that's where the baritone ukulele comes in. Now obviously you can see between these 2 instruments that there is a big size difference. So that's the #1 reason why you're going to learn faster on this particular instrument. Now you might be wondering, how could the size of an instrument influence how fast you can learn how to play it? Well, with the baritone ukulele being not only smaller, but much lighter than a guitar, it means it doesn't matter if you're 8 or 80. You should have no trouble holding this, either just walking around with it or playing it. You don't even need a strap. Quite often when you're playing a guitar, you need a strap to support the weight and the cumbersomeness of the instrument. Here you just have your elbow tucked over, your other hand, your fretting hand, supports it over here. You can play a lot of intricate stuff. You don't have to worry about dropping the instrument because it's too heavy or, like I said, cumbersome. The other thing I like about having a smaller instrument is you're more likely to travel with it. Let's say you're going on a road trip or you're going on a plane trip or whatever. This is much smaller to pack. Maybe you have a nice hard case for it, but it's going to be much smaller to travel around with compared to a full-size guitar. The other thing too is that even around your house, with it being so small, you can just kind of hang it up maybe behind the couch, on the wall there in the family room, or even just have it on the side of the couch or behind there. And maybe you're watching TV, commercial break comes up, you just reach around, pull out your instrument, mute the TV, start strumming out some chords. In other words, you're more likely to play an instrument and practice an instrument if you're going to, it's easy to have access to it. So being a smaller instrument is definitely why you're definitely going to pick this thing up a lot more and practice more. So another benefit of this being a smaller instrument is that the fret spacing is a lot closer together, meaning that when you're playing individual notes, scales, or holding down chords, you have less space for your fingers to stretch out. On an acoustic guitar, you quite often have to have your fingers really stretched out, very difficult for beginners. Here you can play very intricate chords really quite easily because of the small spacing between the individual frets. So that brings us to the next point of why it's going to be easier and faster to learn this particular instrument over guitar. You see, the baritone ukulele only has 4 strings, whereas the guitar has 6 strings, which means it's going to be a lot easier to fret chords on this particular instrument. You've got 4 strings, you've also got 4 fingers, right? So you got a finger for every string. Not only that, you can do very intricate chords quite easily. So, doing your major and minors is usually no problem. But once you get into more sophisticated chords like major 7s and minor 7s or diminished chords, there's a lot of twisting and how to get my fingers in that shape on a guitar. Where here it's really quite simple. Diminished chords, minor 7s, major 7s, very, very simple to play on this particular instrument. So I said before that the small size of this instrument makes it really quite handy. Handy in that you can have it close by at all times, takes up very little space. And if an instrument is handy, you're more likely to pick it up, play it, and of course practice it, right? Well, one of the other things too that with ukulele players, not just baritone, but any ukulele players, is we don't need to use a pick. In fact, the preferred method is to use our fingers. Now, I just want to say, I don't know how many times I've seen beginner guitar players, they're learning to play with a pick, and they still haven't got the technique yet for holding the pick, and how many times does it fall inside the sound hole? You'll often see beginner guitar players doing this kind of thing, trying to fish out their guitar pick, or they've just lost it, and it's like, oh, I can't play, I don't have my pick. Well, we have the pick built in right here. So we can strum with our index finger, or we can strum with our thumb, or we can just do finger picking. Now speaking of finger picking, because you've only got 4 strings on here, the string spacing is a lot wider than on a guitar. So it's a lot easier to do finger picking because we're not getting tripped up by another string being too close. So the last reason why I think you'll have a lot more fun playing and learning on this particular instrument is because it really lends itself to a wide style of music genres. So you can play just your regular typical baritone ukulele music, or you can even make this sound like a classical guitar. And if you want to play your traditional ukulele music, you can grab a capo, slap it onto the 5th fret. Now we've changed the tuning of this baritone ukulele to be like a standard ukulele. Now it sounds like your typical ukulele. So there you have it, some food for thought. Should you go baritone ukulele or should you go guitar? Hopefully I've given you enough points to realize that baritone ukuleles rule. Yeah, they do.